Hello everyone. So I was able to attend an early screening of The Pope's Exorcist. I was pretty excited for this one when I heard the cast, but it comes in at about an hour and 40 minutes long. It is rated R, directed by Julius Avery, and it stars Russell Crowe. So yes, when I heard that news, I was very excited to get into this one. The trailers came out and I thought it looked decent, maybe a little goofy in some ways, but I was really holding on hopes for this movie. So now that I've seen it, let me finally get into my review for The Pope's Exorcist. So the description of this movie is that it is inspired by the actual fires of Father Gabriel Amorth, chief exorcist of the Vatican. The Pope's Exorcist follows Amorth as he investigates a young boy's terrifying possession and ends up uncovering a centuries-old conspiracy the Vatican has desperately tried to keep hidden. So the majority of this movie takes place in Spain, and it is about an American family who moves to Spain, and they are living in this very old old house that was once again on the grounds of the church and has again to a very dark history about it. Long story short, the young boy of the family gets possessed, and it is up to the mom and his sister to again contact the church and figure out what is happening with their son. Gabriel Amorth comes in because he is pretty much summoned by this demon, and again too the events just transpire from there. I don't want to say too much more for spoiler sake, but that gets the basis out of the way. So again too, from this trailer, the few things that kind of made me a little nervous about going to this movie was the performance of the young boy and some of the dialogue within it, where it does sound, again too, from the trailers, it sounded like a lot of it was just kind of been done before, a bit Evil Dead, a bit things that you've seen from The Exorcist, and kind of a lazy man's version of it in ways that does reign true here. And I found that the performances might have been lacking a little bit, and a lot of this movie just feels really familiar in ways that, again too, just you've seen a lot of the you've heard a lot of the dialogue, you've seen a lot of the sets before, and a lot of these same transgressions and pacings that make this movie not as scary as it could have been. There wasn't anything that really scared me, made me uncomfortable, just because it's things that I've seen before. It was too known for me in a lot of ways, but that doesn't mean that like the horror wasn't effective in a lot of ways, because there were a lot of things that I found this movie did really well. There's times where I found it was directed really well, times where I found it wasn't directed very well, but what surprised me most of the time was that the set design is really great, and there was a lot of moments of effects that were just really well done for a horror movie. And especially too, I don't know the budget of this movie, but it just seemed a lot better than what I've really seen for any type of horror movie, just in terms of the effects. There's one really cool one where, of course, the young boy is possessed, and you see his eyes just like tracking across and just tracking these holy artifacts, but then all of a sudden the demon's eyes, these yellow eyes, will like look a different way, and it just looks so real and cool in a lot of ways. Lots of cool smoke effects. I'm certain lots of tricks with wires that just looked really cool, bones like popping in and out, that again too just were really effective and really cool, and I love to see how they're able to pull it off in the process of, again too, just making it look as real as it did. So those were the things that impressed me the most about it. I found that sometimes the voice effects, how they played with the voice, just sounded, again too, been there done that, not the greatest editing on the voices, and sometimes too not the greatest editing from the camera angles that they shot this movie as, where it just bounced every second to different angles, especially near the climax of this movie, where it separates the characters all into different scenarios, and it's just pop like every few seconds, or every second sometimes. And of course that just really takes me out of the experience of, again, to what these characters are dealing with and facing, where there could have been some really good panning shots, really good tracking shots that they would have been able to do, that I found would have been a lot more effective in, again, to just showing the separation between the characters instead of cutting. It makes them feel a lot closer than I think they should have been for a movie where, again, to the demon's trying to separate them. But overall, I found that this movie did have some very effective messaging when it comes to, again, to faith and how anyone has to deal with it, whether it be someone who's completely removed from the church, within the church. And again, to there's really good things about faith and how it can move people forwards, away from their past, away from their sins, just again to really, really great things, all bolstered by a really good performance by Russell Crowe. I really enjoyed his character. I just found that I was expecting your typical by the rules, by the book sort of priest within this movie. And I'm really glad that it ends because he was able to bring a lot of just character to his character through this. That just made him very, very entertaining to watch. And again, too, just really bolstered, again, to the credibility and also to just the realism of his character. It made really good, again, messaging for, again, to how one would have to deal with faith, knowing the organization that they're within, the restraints that it puts on his own beliefs, what he's seen, and how can he continue working for the church when he knows the past of what's going on, and it's because of his relationship with God. So again, I really, really appreciated that dialogue and that kind of discourse that this movie took. That was the only kind of different angle that I've seen in this movie that I haven't seen elsewhere that I really, really appreciated. But a lot of the times it falls down the tropes of, again, to just your typical exorcism movie, and a lot of it just feels so familiar, and again, you've seen it through most any other exorcism movie you've ever watched. But that one angle was kind of the saving grace for me a lot of the times within this movie. So really, with everything taken together, I'm going to have to give The Pope's Exorcist a 6.5 out of 10. I did highly enjoy it in a lot of ways. And again, too, some of the effects are really, really cool. I just felt like some things weren't as polished as they absolutely needed to be. The pacing was pretty well done for the most part, and it didn't really feel too slow in a lot of ways. Again, too, the way that it ends too, and almost it could set up sequels, ones that I don't know if we will see, but I would love to see Russell Crowe step back into this role because just what he was able to do within it, and again, to shape the character in the way that he did, was very, very well done. So if you've seen this film, The Pope's Exorcist, please let me know what you thought about it in the comments down below. And if you like this review, definitely give it a thumbs up, and you can check out everything I do on this channel through a playlist down below, and I'll link them up top here for convenience sake. Of course, if you check out the description of this video and my channel bio, there's a link to the Media Mountain, which is my Discord where we talk about movies, video games, comic books, TV. And of course, too, thank you in advance for subscribing and clicking that little ringer so you know when I upload new videos. Help grow this community and make it even more amazing than it is already. And yeah, just awesome, guys.
I just hope that someone would love me.